Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Marvel Future Fight V755 update live stream. That's right, we are coming live to you. I want to welcome everybody today, and thank you all to those of you who have been answering the questions we posed in the chat before the stream actually started, and now.
Hey, don't you dare press the skip button!
Bring in my friend and yours, my co-host. It's Mr. CM Cage. Where is he?
Hello.
There he is.
Hello, Kim. Hello, agents. And once again, it is always great to be back to showcase a new stellar update. Now, Kim, are you excited for the Eternals?
If you push this button, two things will happen. One, someone somewhere in the world who you don't know will die.
Okay.
And two...
Straight in, we're going to open up with our first Eternal, which is Makari.
All right.
Now, Makari is, as you can see, is a new character to the game, and she is, of course, a speed type character. So, Kim, for those of you who, for those audiences out there that don't know who Makari is, why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of a rundown?
Well, like you mentioned, Makari is the speedster of the Eternals. She is devoted to protecting humankind from the deviants. She is has a lot of different powers, a lot of abilities that are frequent among the Eternals, including cosmic energy manipulation, extreme force generation, shockwave generation, and of course, superhuman speed. Makari is the fastest woman in the universe, so they say. Yes.
Interesting. So, of course, there's a lot to go on with this character. I'm not going to go fully into all the description, but one thing I'll just highlight, for example, for some of her passive skills, such as her Tier 2 passive skill, the Sonic Dodge, it grants a guaranteed dodge rate of plus 30% and decreases damage received by 30%. And that's just for her Tier 2. But enough of her passive skills. Let's go ahead and see some of her skills in the field. And something I want to highlight just before we start, especially the developers wanted me to emphasize this a lot more with this current update, is that a lot of certain stats are still currently in development and are still under a little bit of construction. So whatever we say may not be present in the final build. So just something to keep that in mind.
All right. Thanks for adding that, Cage.
Yep. And we're going to go ahead and jump in and see some of these skills. That's quite an entrance. All right, go ahead and start off with
Love a good
number
entrance.
1. That's right. Skill number 1, of course, do basic attack. Interesting, this basic attack, it actually creates a projectile, a little bit of a blast attack there. So you can see people in the back getting struck as well. If I get closer, it's about the same too. Interesting. Sweet. And about skill 1. Moving on to skill number 1, which is, I was talking about the basic attack earlier. This is skill number 1. That's nice. This is called the Psionic Punch. Now take a look at one more time and see all the area of effect this works. Yeah, she comes in.
It's a nice one too, right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Deals anybody hit by the first initial attack will be given stun, but if you notice, the attack goes a lot further out, and anybody caught in range is hit by the blast. Have to restart it because every time she hits, everyone gets spread further out. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on to skill number 2, which actually is a counter attack. This is how it looks just with the basic. I'm going to go ahead and actually have the enemy attack first.
Okay, do that counter.
All right, here we go. This is the skill number 2, which is the Limit Unlock. Again.
It's a little different.
Yeah, she does a little bit of a sweep kick there. Turn off the AI for this one. Again, as I mentioned, this is a counter attack, which actually fractures opponents while leaving them incapacitated and paralyzed. Do this one more time. Nice. I'm going to move on to these guys over here. For skill number 3, let's take a look.
Ooh, nice.
This is the Tectonic Shift. This grants damage immunity while also accumulating true damage dealt to enemies regardless of their defense and dodge rate.
Like an earthquake almost.
Move on to skill number 4, which is a pretty neat little skill. I'm going to actually reset
What?
it. Yeah, a lot
Yeah,
went
do
on.
that
I'm actually
again.
going to do that.
I'd like
here
to
with
see
a
that
better
again.
angle.
Whoa.
Yeah, a little bit of a zigzag motion there. Let's do it one more time. This is the Psionic Sprint. This is a swift stunning strike, which actually deals about 60% of your physical attack.
Nice. Yeah, that's really fast. I appreciate your showing it more than once.
Yeah, these skills are very, especially being with the Eternals. All their skills are very visually, a lot more cinematic and look a lot more visually appealing. So let's try that again. As you can see, she zigzags back and forth and comes all the way back. Go ahead and move on to skill number 5. This is the Cosmic Cyclone. See, she runs around, traps her enemies. Do it one more time. Now, this is a paralyzing attack that actually ignores your opponent's damage immunity while granting Makari a little bit of immunity of her own. Not only that, also
I like the
increases her
depiction
basic...
of super speed.
Yeah. Not only that, it also increases her basic damage for her next attack by 100%. One more time. Now, of course, she does, as you can see there, she actually has a Transcendent Potential or Awakened skill. We're not going to go over that just yet. I'll tell you the reason why soon. First, I'm going to go ahead and go into the developer notes, see what they have to say. So according to the developers, they actually say she is a well-rounded character for both PvP and PvE. The reason being, for PvE, after gaining the skill 3 defensive buff, which is referring to this skill right here, she's also able to attack with skills 4 and 5, allowing you to chain the hits a little bit better. And for PvP, with the aid of her second skill, which is also, as I mentioned earlier, which is a counter attack, she has a high dodge rate. So overall, Makari is great for attack and defense. For their developer tip, they mentioned it would be effective to begin a combo with skills 3 to get the accumulated damage, then increase your attack skill using skills 4 and 5. So we're going to go ahead and test out their recommended skill combo, which is 3 cancel, 4 cancel, and 5. Let's try it out. Nice. You can see her racking up those hits. All right, and that does it for just the basic modern uniform of Makari. But that's just not it though. We have a lot more to go on with that. And I'll tell you why in just a moment. So of course, with the addition of this new update, the several Eternal characters are going to be getting, a few of the Eternal characters are currently going to be given a new uniform. That's because Makari is not only a new character, she's also a new character that will be given a new uniform in this very same update.
That's right. You may recognize this. This is the Marvel Studios Eternals uniform.
That's right. Now, with this uniform, she has two new skills, and as part of her passive that come with this new additional skill that comes with this passive uniform. With this new skill, she's given an additional 10 HP recovery, with the addition of when using her new skill, Hurricane Dash, which we will go over very shortly. Let's go ahead and take a look at the new skills in action.
All right.
All right. So again, a lot of her skills actually have a little bit more of a different color palette, so you can see here. This is skill 1, which is one of her new skills, which is the Eternal Sonic Boom. It's similar to her previous skill, but if you notice the difference here is that she actually dashes behind her opponents.
Nice. Okay.
All right, so move on to skill number 2. Again, skill number 2 isn't a new skill, but again, just if you notice the color is a little bit different, so a little bit of a visual change there. So we're going to go ahead and move on to skill number 3, which, as I mentioned, kind of plays into her uniform's new passive skill. I'm going to do this skill one more time because visually it's just very cool.
Yeah.
This, again, is the Hurricane Dash. As you can see, great visual effects, looks fantastic. Now, this thing about this skill is that as far as the effects are the exact same as the previous uniform, or the modern uniform, but the difference is that because of the uniform's passive ability, you actually gain additional HP recovery.
Looks good.
Move on to skill number 4.
All right, I recognize
Sonic
that.
Sprint. You recognize that little zigzag motion there. Again,
Yeah,
not a new skill, but
just
again, just cool to see again.
Different color palette.
That's right. Skill number 5 is the
That's
Cosmic
right.
Cyclone.
I just love the way that speed is depicted. It's kind of like those old school zoetropes.
Oh, yeah, I think
Yeah.
you're referring to.
Yeah, see it?
So I'm going to go ahead and reset one more time.
A really cool stylistic choice.
That's right. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to her Awakened skill. Let's test it out. So I'm actually going to go ahead and do this again because the angle wasn't really right, but you can probably see by the time that skill ended.
I see a friend.
There you go. That's right. And you can see Makari and her fellow Eternal Cersei join together in a stellar attack that paralyzes foes while granting Makari... Now, there's a number of stats in here, so I'm going to try to get through this as best I can. So this attack increases Makari and Makari's critical rate and damage by 35% while ignoring your foe's dodge rate by 70%. In addition to that, this further increases her... So when she lands a critical strike, her critical damage is further increased by 50%. And if that wasn't enough, her basic attack and defense is further increased briefly by 25%. There's a lot that goes on with this skill, as it should, as this is an awakened skill. And that does it for the fantastic Makari.
I see some of Cersei's qualities in there too.
That's right, and you're going to see more of that in just a moment too.
Good, good. I want to talk about that more.
I'm going to go ahead and move on to our next batch. As you can see here, that is not the correct batch. That's from a previous update. Here is the correct batch, and as you can see, these are the Eternals based off Marvel Studios. Eternals. Mm-hmm. Of course, you have Icarus and you have Cersei, but we're going to go ahead and start off with, or follow up with Cersei. This is Cersei in her new uniform. So, of course, Cersei was introduced, I believe, back in the 695 update, but she is given a new uniform in this update. So, just as a refresher, Kim, can you refresh our audience and who Cersei is?
Well, we know Cersei is a member of the Eternals. What's special about Cersei, though, is her great capacity for compassion and love. She loves humankind, and she works as a museum curator. But she uses her powers of transmutation to help people and protect people and give them the best chance to advance. She also is in love with Icarus and has been for about 5,000 years.
Sweet. So, so with this uniform, some additional effects that we can read off is that with this uniform, she has an additional HP recovery rate of 30%. Not only that, any damage she received is actually reduced by 30%. And in addition to that, for example, for her passive skill Eternal Cleansing, the effect of removing debuffs from her fellow Eternal allies have increased from 10 seconds to 12 seconds, while the cooldown has been decreased from 20 seconds to 18 seconds. Seems small, but when strategically planning these out, timing is everything. And then lastly, for her Tier 2 Cosmic Focus, in addition to getting a 30% increase on basic attack and damage, or basic attack, any damage she receives by supervillain has decreased by 30%, and any damage dealt to supervillains is increased by 30%. So pretty good passives. Let's go ahead and take a look at these skills now. And with this skill, she actually has 2 enhanced skills as well. This is the Magic Whip, nothing new, but of course the color is a little bit different there. A little something new to look at. This is the skill number 2, Delusion Glow. So move on to over here. Let's go into these guys over here to use her new skill, which is the Cosmic Sphere.
Cosmic Sphere.
Now,
interesting.
Take a look at this one more time. So again, this is a visually astounding skill that will actually paralyze foes while granting a 15% HP recovery and damage immunity. In addition to that, it also accumulates a percentage of damage to deal true damage. All right, go ahead and move on to these guys over here to move on to our next new skill, which is pretty cool. This is the Enhanced Telekinesis. Do it again to these guys over here. Now, as you can see, she strikes enemies with a bus, and after doing that, she actually transmutes the bus into rose petals. So as you can see here, what this actually does is that after she strikes enemies with this bus, those are left charmed and also burned. Again, these stats are actually similar to her previous uniform skills, but the difference is, again, not only just visually, but also the range for this attack has actually been increased as well. Take a look at it one more time. For those of you who saw the teaser, this looks
the rose petals are always
very familiar.
Yeah.
Move on over here.
That's like such a hallmark of Cersei now.
This is skill 5, which is not a new skill. That one's Beads of Destruction. So now we'll do her new awakened skill, which is the Illusion Force. As Makari's skill is called Speed Force, this is Illusion Force. Take a look at this one more time. Sorry, Makari and her fight alongside to paralyze opponents while also dealing a variety of stats that are similar to Makari's, but The difference being as Makari's critical damage would be increased, Cersei's a little bit different, where her basic damage is increased by 35% for her next attack. All right.
Nice.
Well played. And that does it for Cersei.
All right. Thank you, Cage.
That's right. Now, of course, we can go on to the Star Eternal, the iconic Eternal himself, which is Icarus. As you mentioned before, there were some fans of Icarus that are excited. So let's go ahead and take a look at him.
They're all caps excited, Cage. And there were a few I didn't read that were in all caps, too.
There's a difference. When they're in caps, they're truly passionate.
That's how you know that they are screaming the words.
So just as a refresher, who is Icarus?
Icarus is the most powerful member of the Eternals. He is the tactical leader of them, and has been with them for thousands of years. He is moral, kind, charismatic, loyal, and he keeps his fellow Eternals safe.
All traits that are perfect for the leading Eternal. So yeah, let me go ahead and read off some of the basic effects. So with his uniform, his chain hit damage is increased by 10%, and also all basic damage received has been decreased by 25%. Again, he is a universal superhero, as you can tell. And he has also 2 enhanced skills as well as an additional little item there, which you can probably already tell just by looking at his list of skills. Let's go ahead and take a look. Skill number 1 is the Warrior's Fist, not the new skill. Still always fun to see. Skill number 2 is the Hero's Advance. Fun to see. So this is a new skill, or new-ish skill. This is skill number 3, which is the Cosmic Rush.
Ooh.
Now, those of you who are fans of the previous or the modern uniform will see that it looks familiar. That's because it is pretty familiar, but with one distinct difference. So one difference is that although the substats that it actually causes are the same, what it does is actually creates an additional projectile that is hovered above him, which allows you to, when you cancel this skill, it will allow you to chain other combos as well. Take a look at that one more time. As far as
chain him.
Chain him. I'll chain. I'll add a little bit more detail. That I skipped ahead a bit. That plays into the developer notes later on. Let's go ahead and skill number 4, which is the Eternal Blast.
Oh boy.
For those of you who are wondering, like, this doesn't look completely new, that's because yes and no. So what's different with this skill? Again, this is a skill that has similar substats, but the difference is the attack is actually prolonged, which will actually allow you to do more damage. So let's take a look at it one more time. Yeah, if you time it out and see the number of hits are actually increased because of what he does. He fires first, and then he fires for, as you can see there, for a second time, allowing you to do more damage.
Very nice.
So as you can see, we are already all set to do our T3 ability. That's right. If it isn't already obvious, Icarus will be given T3 with this update. The name of this T3 is referred to as Fated Precision.
Whoa.
That's right. You can see that he does his iconic beam there. Let's do that one more time. We have to charge up our little bit of our T3 account. Then I'll go ahead and read through the stats that go along with it.
Those eyes.
Okay, almost there. I guess while I'm doing that, I'll actually go ahead and read through the developer notes. They mention that after the key thing that goes with this, again, with this uniform is, again, as I mentioned, that's that projectile seen in skill 3. You can actually use it to cancel and be able to chain attacks. So let's test it out. We're going to go ahead and do 3 cancel, 5 cancel, and then 4. Really let those hits go. All right. Now we're all ready. Let's go ahead and repeat the Fated Precision for his T3. Now this attack, as you can see, this is an epic burning attack that will leave foes silenced, buffing your next attack by 50% while dealing up to 200% of your character's energy attack. I'm going to try a skill combo one more time. And also, the developers mentioned that when you equip an artifact, Icarus can actually attack enemies with the ignore targeting effect, making him very beneficial in PvP.
All right, good to know.
Cancel. I messed up that combo. Once again, let me go ahead and read through the developer's skill combo for that again. I believe I butchered it the first time. Yeah, once again, it is going to be... I'll wait for the debuffs to wear off on that for a second. Sweet. They're all
Get them lined up like bowling pins.
That's right. That's exactly where they're going to be. We're gonna go three cancel, 4 cancel. That's I messed it up again. Oh no. So they actually have 2 different lists of sets here. You can do it with 3 cancel, and then 6, or his T3, or once again you can do 3 cancel, 5 cancel, or 4, and then follow it up with 4. Yep. And that does it with Icarus. And there you have it.
All
You have
right.
the first few Eternals to be released in Marvel Featured Fight.
Interesting the way you say that. All right, let's move on. We're not done with our Eternals content, though we have finished our characters. That is because we have an epic quest.
That's right. We have a little bit of a more of a unique epic quest as opposed to our different ones. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. The story begins.
The story begins.
I don't know if I want to reveal too much just yet, so I'm actually going to go ahead and leave it to the rest of the viewers for when this goes live. So what's going to happen first, as I mentioned, there is going to be a prologue. And after you get to prologue, as you mentioned, you're going to get to these next Eternals. And as you mentioned, for those of you who are wondering where the other Eternals are going to be, have no fear, they will be released in a future update. And you can see there's a variety of different, as for normal, for each epic quest, you're going to be following a lot of objectives. Now, this isn't really visually appealing to see. We want you guys to actually experience it firsthand. So I'm actually going to go ahead and list for you what the developers listed, what will happen if you choose said stories. For example, for those of you who want to go with Cersei's first story, when choosing Cersei, at the start of her story, you will be given a tier 2 Cersei, and by completing it, you'll be able to transcend her potential. Makari will be the character that will be available for the deluxe package. And by completing that, you'll be able to grow her to tier 2. For Icarus, upon starting his story, you will get a tier 2 Icarus. And upon completing the story, as per other epic quests, you will be given you'll be able to grow a tier 3 Icarus. So that's something to look forward to. Once again, in order to move on to the next story, you have to complete that said story, and then you can be able to move on. So there's a lot to go through for each. This is a very unique case. So we look forward to seeing what you guys have to say for the update. And that does it for the content for V755.
All right, but we're not done yet because we have a question to answer.
Hey, don't you dare press the skip button!